Alright, so this is going to be the first episode, the inaugural episode for the SushiSphere. Uh, how do you feel about the names I sent you, by the way? Just,
Yeah,
just totally to
yeah.
mention.
I still think I think if we gain traction, still put the name out to a vote maybe one day. I think you because yours are good as well. Once I've seen yours, I thought maybe the best idea might be to compile a list of names, and then try and nail it down to a handful, and then put it to a vote.
Yeah, that sounds like a good sort of plan for the future. This talk show podcast is going to be basically a weekly thing where we get together, anybody who wants to contribute and engage in the conversation, to talk about news and developments for
That's
SushiSwap.
sort of just sorry, just jump in. That's why I sort of come up. That's what I thought of the name of Sphere. It was sort of yeah, this podcast is sort of encapsulate everything around sushi, and that's why I come up with Sphere. So we're just going in with it, adding
Yeah,
into what
sort
you're
of like
saying.
the collection or the collective of
Yeah,
everyone who's contributing and hanging out in the sushi sort of community. So for today, the news that we're sort of covering is we got the dev funds returned, um,
yeah.
from from Nomi Chef. How do you feel about
Which
Nomi
is
Chef, by the way, after everything that's happened?
well, I just think the pure fact of him returning that 15 that money clears everything. I reckon yeah, everyone being in the position he was would obviously thinking about doing exactly what he done. And I think a very minute part of the population would return the money. So I think just the pure fact of of returning the money sort of clears everything.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, I'm glad he returned the money. Uh, it was sort of a burn because he did say in the Discord specifically that he would not sell. But uh, like you said, like even given that fact, I was still like a defender of his right to take that and sell it. Like it was like in the code, it was
Yeah,
discussed early on, everyone knew about it. It was very public about what the 10% cut that he had.
yeah,
Um, and his decision to return it, and I'm assuming he's working in the background but being quiet about it. It shows a lot of commitment from him, where he could have just walked away with millions and
yeah, and
millions of dollars.
yeah, and in saying that, I only come into Sushi Swap after he had done done the runner, just at the time when pretty much Sam's first tweet about Naomi doing the runner. That's when I first opened up to Sushi Swap. I was sort of pushing everything away up until then, so I never had any interaction in the Discord with him prior to all this. So yeah, so I can only go off that, and yeah, just the fact that he returned $15 million when he didn't have to says a lot.
Yeah. And so next up, we've got SushiSwap launched on DeFi Prime and DeFi Pulse. It's sort of just like uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of like an olive branch, I guess. Just you know, uh,
It's
s- you know,
be
projects in the
like
DeFi ecosystem
the
helping each
coin
other out.
market cap of DeFi sort of DeFi pulse. Is that what I'm looking at? Is it more just like a
It's sort of like a stats screen to track
yeah,
market cap and locked value and things like that.
yeah, so sort of like a coin market cap similar um, platform.
Yeah, and DeFi Prime or DeFi Prime is like sort of like Zapper, I
Yeah,
guess,
on that,
is an
yeah.
analog.
yeah, on that.
It
Have a
sort
look
of
at
builds
DeFi.
in sort of not implementations, but it builds in support for other DeFi projects to basically make it cheaper for a consumer to interact with platforms instead of like converting, paying the gas fees for that, and then staking and approving and then doing multiple gas fees for
Yeah,
small retail people. That it's a lot easier to use these other programs like Zapper and DeFi Prime.
yeah, and that's what sort of just on that topic. That's when I've been thinking about this, going through a few of the proposals, making changes to Switch, and I'm sort of thinking. I've been thinking along the lines of keeping it the sushi, the protocol, and it, like what I sort of stated in one of the proposals, keeping it to its core, and then building all these other plugins that can sort of interact with sushi without changing the base layer. That's what sort of, and then yeah, these other like DeFi Prime is sort of a good example from what I can gather of something like that.
And we also, September 17th, we had the governance forum launched, which was
Yeah,
a huge deal. It sort of created a platform where people could start having serious discussion about different implementations of proposals and things like that. And that's sort of the origin of where all of the discussion uh, that we'll be talking about for the proposals has come from. Have you been very active on the
yeah.
forums?
So yeah, just not fully. I done if I've made a couple of comments, but that proposed the wasabi proposal, I was reading that. Yeah, went through all that yesterday after we had a chat about it, and made a comment on boring cryptos post, which I think yeah I agreed pretty much entirely with, and I think a lot of other people had the same thought. But yeah, only really that post. I've skimmed through the other ones, but yeah, um, after yesterday, I've made me account and really started it up. And I'm just looking now. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I've like commented a little bit, liked some people's posts. I think I actually made one post that was talking about this show. Didn't get much interaction, but you know,
oh
it's early
yes,
days.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's a prime example. Like I've sort of got a, I think notifications or something might be good. I might have to turn on notifications. Um, because I was going to like what we're talking about again the other day. I was originally intention was to make a post about the podcast. I posted it in the Discord, in the governance channel, I know the proposal channel a week or two ago. Um, and then I was going to post in here, but like that would have been a topic that I would have been over, and I haven't even come across it. So that's what's I think I've just got to work out how to use it properly. Same with everyone.
And next up, we have Chester Lacroix onboarded as a Bijutsu. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. I don't actually know these Japanese words that are used for different roles. But he's basically made a bunch of different UI designs that got a lot of traction. Um, are you? I think you should
So,
see the link in the
yeah.
itinerary.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see a couple of UIs. It's not the um
It's you scroll down a little bit and it has brand and visual standardization, and it has a link for branding concept one, branding concept
yeah,
one
yeah, I
B
got that.
two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I've only just seen this now.
Oh, how do you?
What's what notion? So what I think this is one thing I might work on is trying to aggregate all this under one domain. No, I'm just what's the notion? So is that his Oh yeah, it's a platform. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
he
that's
says
yeah, I'm only just
he says he has like worked. Let's see, what's it say here? His experience. His personal background involves 8+ years of graphic web, print, social media, and digital marketing design, with 3+ years in UI and UX. Apparently, he's worked with some company doing 100 million in sales annually. But I mean, his work speaks for itself. It's pretty slick. I don't know if any of
yeah,
this
I'm
is
just
going
going
to
through it
be
now.
like officially used, but um, I think I saw in the Discord that there was a lot of optimism and positivity from some of the devs talking about his designs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is perfect. I was just yeah, I really like it.
Um, Next up we have oh yes, I think I lost my URL. Crap. Uh, Next up is the sushi emissions
Yeah,
were reduced to basically like a third, with 2/3 being on a 6-month time lock, with additionally plans made for a hard cap at 250 million sushi, which is pretty huge. It's a huge change to the I guess what you would call the tokenomics of sushi, or the
yeah.
sushinomics.
Sushinomics. Yeah, that's massive, and I think a lot of people were asking for that. So that was on a lot of people's. Well, that was the first people thing. A lot of people were talking about up until this. I think it was discussed heaps in the Discord from what I seen. Having that hard cap, having that supply hard cap, and uh, the emissions reduced. So that seeing that pass is good. I don't know, watching things. I don't know if it's good or bad watching things move so quickly. It's yeah, it's like it's mad, but I don't know being able to move so
Yeah,
quickly. I don't
it,
know if it can dampen anything in the future.
it's definitely sort of crazy. It's also, I feel like, sort of the name of the game. Like, if you don't develop quickly, then other people are going to develop quickly, and then the hype cycle builds on their momentum, and it steals away, sort of like sucks drains away momentum in this type of market. But also, it's a double-edged sword. You develop quickly, you play fast and loose with what's effectively economic principles, and you can build a tricky web for yourself. um, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's just
It's too early to really know how positive or negative this change is, and the benefit is that we can like, sushi holders can always vote to undo it and vote to change this type of stuff in the future. um, And that's sort of the benefit of sort of having something open like this, decentralized.
yeah, definitely. And like I've been thinking about this topic just the last couple of days, especially, and I was thinking about. I wanted to sort of get your thoughts on it. What would it be like implementing? So like our um, well, US and I think yeah, UK, Australia are pretty similar. We've got the courts, you got the three divisions of the governance that aren't interacted. It's like the police, the
Mm-hmm.
courts, and then the parliament. What about creating that sort of structure within the protocol? How do you reckon that would look? Having sort of two or three decentralized layers that I had to get through to pass.
Mm, so one idea is to basically have super delegates, where like anybody who holds X sushi or whatever voting power token we're talking about delegate their votes to somebody else. And there can be sort of a push to do that, and then it's essentially like whoever the community trusts the most, and then those people will basically operate like a multi-sig, and through sort of promoting that delegate system, that super delegate system, you can basically have the users, uh, in some sense, surrender their governance ability to basically give it up to this
Yeah.
sort of ruling council that's voted in, obviously. Um,
And,
and that would
yeah,
enable
and you could sort
basically
of layer that.
you could layer it.
Like sort of
Well,
layer it underneath the original multi-sigs. So then you'd sort of have like the community voting on something that then would go to the super delegates. They would sort of overlook it, maybe pass it, then the multi-sigs would put it through.
yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking this out of my head right now. So so I would imagine a system where you would delegate your votes to people, and then uh, the like I don't know, top nine or top maybe 17, like just to make it like odd numbers. Top 17 people will then become super delegates, and then all the super delegates do is they would vote on proposals that are pushed forward by the rest of the people. So proposals and all that would stay the same. People would make proposals, people would vote on it. Then those proposals, if voted positively, if it's voted in a majority, or with which whatever with whatever the quorum requirement is, then that would go to the super delegates, and they would decide. They would try to develop and test that, basically that implementation, and then they would make a determination and vote
Yeah.
to whether it's good for the protocol or bad.
Yeah, I reckon talking about this further would be. I reckon it'd be good because we're sort of got you got the multi-sig, so they don't really do anything, and I think having a group of 10, maybe 15 sort of lead community members that can make the say in it, that are sort of delegated by the community. It's sort of I think it would. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it would sort of be like a quality check on the proposals, or it could turn into something bad.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it could be something similar to like how, these like governments have like
Yeah,
a House of Commons or whatever it's called, and then a like a
yeah,
Senate or a Parliament, or whatever the name is,
yeah,
and they basically have to come to agreement on something in order to actually push it through. And like,
yeah, exactly.
in this context, the Senate would be like the core devs and the people who have been working on it, and then the Parliament would be people who are delegates by vote.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then you got sort of that would something like that, implementing something like that, especially early on, I think could sort of mitigate any risk of moving and developing so quick, and especially just having voting rights. Who's to say that a competitor doesn't buy a lot of tokens and just sort of try and vote to ruin it. So I think having setting up a system like that, whatever way it looks, could mitigate that problem.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we also, I think once they vote to get, or once the time lock is removed, since we already have a multi-sig, that will increase the governance's ability to function a lot as well. But moving on, the next news is the new UI preview that's been posted on Twitter by the Omakase bar. You looking at that?
Yeah, I've been following his posts. since I think I seen in the where was it, one of the channels on Discord, he posted I think engineering channel maybe last week or something, posted up a little preview. But yeah, no, that looks mad.
You know, this is not confirmed, but I saw some talk about some sort of game being included in it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see about that. It was just like some tab in the UI that was included, and somebody asked about it, and it was sort of like a hush hush type answer.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, I think Brody was talking about before is getting the theme and the branding um, seamless across all the platforms to really start to get that recognition. I reckon that's sort of going to be a priority.
All right, and the last thing on the news front is the Uni and ETH pool got activated for rewards. Did you follow any of that sort of drama?
Nah, nah, not really. I was, yeah, I was staking LP tokens for about 2 weeks ago, but I sort of switched all over to um, the sushi bar once that come out, and I've sort of been focusing on a couple other things. So yeah, I haven't really been following that. Yeah,
So essentially, the it was voted in as a new pair, and it was pushed through the multisig, or not the multisig. I think SBF pushed it through, but it had the time lock on it. And then when the time lock went through, the rewards got activated on it before the website itself had been updated with the UI. So the only way to actually stake and start earning was to use like Etherscan itself and to manually
I,
do everything.
yeah,
And it stayed like that for about like 4 hours, which caused a little bit of a stir on Twitter. But
when did
it did get fixed. What's that?
when did this happen?
This was last night.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, or like 24 hours ago, essentially.
yeah, oh, yeah, no, I wasn't following that.
Yeah. It's a learning experience. I think it's just something that as governance grows, that people will learn sort of lessons of how to manage this stuff,
Yeah,
and because Twitter is a harsh mistress. If you're gonna be on Twitter like SushiSwap is, you're gonna get attacked for stuff like this. So you gotta manage it right. But at the end
yeah,
of the day, it's minor. It's super super minor, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Um,
No,
you got
there
any
you go.
last words?
Not really. I'm not sure. Yeah, I wasn't over that, so I don't really have too much.
Gotcha, gotcha. So next up we got proposals. The first one on the list here is for the Omakase team, basically funding from the dev wallet for core contributors, early contributors. Have you looked at that proposal on the forum at all?
Yeah, I was on it the other day. I had a good look, and then just before I was looking over it again. I don't know many of the guys, but I reckon there's a team needed for sushi to really start getting things going. So I think and there's money sitting there for this kind of work. Um, I think yeah, I just have a bit more of a say once they get going. It'd be good to be able to chat with them and have a discussion on what they're working on.
Yeah, yeah. I saw some people like sort of getting in a scrap, like sort of fighting about who was getting rewards and who wasn't getting rewards. I sort of, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm totally fine with the list that was written up. I didn't see anything wrong with it, but I think if rewards are going to be given out and it's like basically payment is going to be made to people, there needs to be a cleaner sort of like they need to write up some sort of short blurb or something talking about what their contributions were, what their skill set is, why they were valuable to the team, just something like that for each person who's going to be getting paid, and then I think a lot of people would have a clearer idea of what you have to do and like how serious you have to be to be on that list. Because I saw there were people from from some Telegram, which apparently I didn't even know about. There's a SushiSwap Telegram channel, but they were talking about how they believed the admins on the Telegram channel should be getting paid, and then basically the list was scaled back to just
yeah,
the coders who were building, um, which I think is a shame because I think the entire point of it is to encourage people to you know support and contribute to the ecosystem for everybody. And if
yeah.
you're getting in a fight over it, then sort of sort of missing the point.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, like come to think about it, I reckon a couple of things on that. I reckon one thing maybe before they start before we start talking about who, because this is just in discussion now, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I mean, there was like a yes no vote on it,
Yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of like if you think the proposal is good or if you think it needs more improvement. The results on it right now is 93% proposal is good and 10% needs improvement. So that's only of 60. Wait, what? It says 58 voters and 60 total votes. I don't know how that works, but okay, whatever. Moving on. Moving on from that number. That doesn't make any sense to me. Can you vote for both?
yeah. I just yeah, just yeah, I don't know. I think on that, I think maybe a good thing to discuss first before discuss who. I think maybe discuss what roles are needed and then what rewards for what roles. I think having that outline first before we discuss who would be helpful. And then two, I think maybe I was thinking about this the other day, rewarding paying after the fact, not before. So sort of someone put up the proposal. This going to take this hours, done, 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 and
Oh
then
yeah, I believe as it's written up. All these people on this list are people who have like contributed in the past, not for like future stuff. I believe.
and that's what this
But I'm
proposal.
curious. I'm curious. What level of rewards do you think are warranted for, say, Discord moderator?
I think it's sort of. I wouldn't know myself. I would probably just go off market rates, using sort of online, um,
I
even
guess
even something
community.
like Upwork. Yeah, yeah, sort of just like. And I think you could sort of say SushiSwap is like I think is like a finance company, is like a bank or something like that. So it's not like a yeah, I don't know another comparison, but it's a big. It's like in theory, it's a big, large corporation, and it's what are the fees? It's like $80,000 in fees a day. I think so.
Yeah, I'm seeing like about like a range of like between 40,000 a year and 70,000 a year.
So what's on crypto fees? Um, cryptofees.info. Sushi's sitting at 4 with 200. That just jumped up. That will was sitting below balance. So what's happened there?
For what site?
But on cryptofees.info, it was sitting. So that says 1 day fees 245,000. Who was sitting?
Yes.
Who was sitting? Is that so? That's
That is that's including liquidity provider fees. So that's the full
yeah,
0.3% that's paid on any
yeah,
swap.
trade. Yeah. So that's like that's revenue of the company. If you think about it, the decentralized company, that's a decentralized revenue. So I think the contributors have sort of got to pay accordingly to like a finance corporation or something like which and going off the proposed. Let me pull it up. Yeah, so 40 to 60,000 USD for graphic designer. Um, that's sort of on par. 120, 75 to 120 for developers. I think that's on par. Moderators, see lead community 70 to 80. Yeah, I don't know the market rates, but I don't think that's too far fetched. But
Yeah,
there
and
has
it shouldn't be too much to ask to like have community managers or whoever is or the multi-sig people or 0x Mackie, for instance, to basically write up a document showing market rates and like showing that this is the rate that we chose to pay this person for this work based on this market rate that you can look at from this other website, this other source, independent source, something like that. Because if like I mean it already happens like when people say like okay we're gonna reward these people, there's a bunch of community just infighting just about who gets rewarded for what, and I think having a professional sort of at least semi-professional looking write up would ease a lot of the community into movements like that.
put forward is to do up rate, the rates that being paid at, and then everyone can vote and agree on them rates, and then that's sort of something that that's community agreed, and then that would sort of squash all that infighting of who gets what, who gets this, and then but then in saying that once you got these rates, you got to determine how um, how to work, yeah, what's required, and then how is that um, sort of measured as well. So I think which is another problem.
Yeah, it's an interesting question of how to best manage how to best make these types of decisions in a decentralized manner.
I think that's what I was thinking. I was thinking project rate. So it's paid per project. It's not paid per employee or per this or per that.
But how would you define like a Discord moderator?
Yeah, well, that maybe it could be a 1 month project for moderating Discord for this month, or a 6 month project moderating Discord, or something like that, where it's not ongoing and it has to be renewed, and then that could stop a lot of complacency.
I'm sorry, somebody was just talking to me. Sorry about that. What did you just say?
Yeah.
I apologize.
Um, yeah, no, you're right. Projects have it as in like sort of projects. So the community Discord manager could be a 3 month project where it's where the role is you've got to spend so
Oh,
many
I
hours on
see. Yeah,
Discord.
yeah. Like a timed sort of
Yeah,
sort of payment plan. Um,
and then paid after the fact. So just say we vote on.
oh, I see what you're saying. So basically, say they're gonna do 3 months of work. They maybe I would say give them 5 to 10% upfront, at minimum maybe. Um, and then after the fact, they receive their payment after like 2 months or 1 month or whatever it is. I think probably 1 month would be
And
easier
there
to
could
do that.
yeah, I think and obviously there'll be a lot of trial and error um, carrying out something like this, but I think yeah, something like that, pay per project, um, and then the ongoing ones like community managers or front end dev, or yeah, even front end dev could be still a project, but the ongoing ones are sort of yeah in time allotments, and it's yeah, I don't know, it's just a thought.
Just gonna make a note of that.
Maybe
All right.
we could put that as a theme for next week, um, and we could spend the week thinking about it. Maybe even chuck it in the group, and then that could give us a week to think about, discuss next week.
Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely mull it over, and I mean, I was thinking of like, you know, thinking it over, writing it up something, and then throwing it on the proposal forum,
Yeah,
just to get the idea out there. Um, if you do you want to move on to the next proposal?
yeah,
All right, the next proposal is this yield farming with unused liquidity idea. Um, so the idea, just to summarize it, I'm going to say it real quick just to make sure I'm going to read it real quick just to
yeah,
make sure I got it right. But basically, they propose that liquidity in different pools, different pairs on SushiSwap that have low trade volume, you can take a portion of that liquidity and convert it into stablecoin or something, or not even convert it to stablecoin, but move those assets onto lending platforms and then start earning interest on that just natively while it's sitting there instead of just having it sit there do nothing, waiting for somebody to theoretically, start trading a low liquidity pair, move it into a lending platform to, you know, generate yield.
yeah. I was sort of like we were discussing yesterday. I'm sort of stuck. I'm trying to still get my head around the whole space as it is, but I think completely. Yeah, it took me a while to get my head around such a simple thing as what SushiSwap is, a DEX with AMM and then earning fees. It took me ages to understand that, and then I think complicating even more with adding extra income streams, sort of add.
Well, so there are two things I would say about this. First, this would be like a behind the scenes change that would, theoretically, if I mean, I would hope they wouldn't use it if it's not better than just the fees earned from sitting there. So it could be a behind the scenes change that you wouldn't see that would increase the yield for a LP, and it would increase the yield just natively. It wouldn't be like another revenue stream. But the second thing I'd say about this is, um, there's a lot more technicality to doing something like this than this proposal makes it out to be. The proposal makes it out to be a very simple thing, and like in essence, yeah, you're like, you have a bucket full of water and syrup, and you have a faucet on it, and only an X amount is being drained every second, and only X amount is being poured in. So you could take some out and then move it over, and then generate more water and syrup, and then pour that back in. Um, but in reality, this, at least from my perspective, sounds like it would open up an attack angle for flash loans to severely affect slippage on a pair,
Yeah,
by basically draining, not draining, but flooding the pool with too many trades that the liquidity can't keep up. Um, but it's an interesting idea and something that, I'm sure the devs have looked at, or I say the devs, you know some of the core contributors have looked at and have considered.
Yeah, I think I've got to spend more time getting my head around all the technical sides because yeah, I'm fearful of everything I don't know. So as soon as that same thing, so as soon as I understand that, then that's when I sort of warm up to it. So that's why I think I've got to understand it. But what it just with this, with using unused liquidity, what about this sort of? I've just been looking into and finance. And what about creating a plugin from you and finance's side that sort of optimizes the liquidity pools in SushiSwap, where you're
Well,
not
I mean that's sort of what they're talking about with the yield farming thing.
so it's not nothing to do with SushiSwap's protocol, or it's an opt-in rather than it's everyone. Everyone.
No, I think the proposal here is so were you talking about more of like creating a Yearn vault competitor system basically on SushiSwap?
Yeah. Yeah, or I sort of, I don't know exactly. I'm still trying to get my head around. I was just thinking about after listening to this podcast today and diving into you and today is how they sort of create the vaults. But yeah, create a vault with you and with liquidity pool, yeah, different all the liquidity pools, and then that can sort of optimize the liquidity and the returns across all the sushi pools. Is that possible?
It is theoretically possible. The idea here is you have your liquidity pool with and you have like just for simplicity you have 5 ether and $5 in it, okay, and people are trading $1 a day. That means there's like $4 and say you're trading $1 for 1 Ethereum. There's $4 and 4 Ethereum that's like never being used because only $1 is being traded a day. So what
Yeah.
this proposal would say is you take those $4 and 4 Ethereum and you move it into a Yearn vault and start earning interest on that, and then you pay both the trading fee of trading $1 a day to the liquidity providers, but also the interest from the assets sitting in that vault, that lending vault.
And then
At least that's the idea.
how responsive is that if the liquidity is locked up in a vault and then all of a sudden we get a massive inflow
Well,
of
exactly. That's sort of the
sort of
risk there.
it sort of sounds like our unused liquidity is sort of like a BitMEX insurance fund.
Yeah, it's sort of like a
Sits there,
backstop against
yeah,
against attacks. Yeah.
it's not used until the day it needs to be used, and that's the day you need to have it. So that's yeah, I don't know. I think obviously talk about it more, but yeah, I have to look into that sort of not
Yeah.
to get my
Well,
head around.
you want to move on to the next proposal?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we got a pool rewards adjustment. So I wrote a little description here. Slash or reduce sushi rewards on stablecoin sushi swap pairs, and then allocate the extra distribution to high volume pools. Oh, okay, this is the one we talked about last night. So this is basically a proposal to either slash or get rid of um, the uh, the sushi distribution to stable coin pairs. So um, like ETH USDC, ETH USDT, ETH DAI, um, any of the pools that Uniswap is incentivizing right now, um, because so much liquidity has gone to Uniswap to farm Uni token. There's not a lot of trading volume on SushiSwap for those pairs. However, they're the highest yielding sushi pairs. So, like, if you are in the SushiSwap ETH USDC pair as a liquidity provider and you're staking to earn sushi, you'll earn more sushi than somebody else in, say, the YFI ETH pool. Um, or even in the screenshot, you earn more than the sushi ETH pool, which doesn't make a sense at all. Um, and the issue there is that those pools have very low trading volume. So although the liquidity providers are earning a lot of sushi stakers aren't actually earning much from that pool, right?
Yeah, that's and I'm sort of
And so
again
the
saying.
proposal is to no, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry. Oh yeah, I sort of got my head around this, and I've sort of got the same thing. This brings to mind of what Boring Crypto mentioned in the Wasabi upgrade on the forum yesterday, and I think the last comment he said, he goes, "This all seems more value add to me than making the bar more grassy and remove sushi buyers." Uh, yeah, just to get the 2.5% yield boost, which is useless if sushi doesn't grow. Some prefer the gains another way, actually. So what was his comment? Pretty much the same. We were trying to make all these tweaks, these little tweaks to increase yield here or increase yield there. And instead of focusing on that, we need to look at it a different way, and that's increase in liquidity or volume traded on the exchange, which would sort of remove these issues we're having. I think this proposal falls under them same lines as, like, I think we're focused on trying to
Well,
pull.
I would say, okay, to count in to maybe try to convince you
Yeah,
otherwise,
yeah, no,
that
yeah,
adding value to sushi stakers uh, incentivizes people to stake sushi, which incentivizes people to buy sushi to stake, which then delivers more value to liquidity providers on SushiSwap, because these liquidity providers on SushiSwap are still earning sushi. It's just less sushi than the initial first 2 week launch period. Um,
yeah,
but you know, I mean, it's definitely a debate of like, where do you focus development? Do you focus development on
yeah,
trying to add value to the sushi token itself to then deliver the value through the rise of the price of sushi token to liquidity providers? Or do you try to work on some new solution for liquidity providing where it inherently increases the yield there? Um,
yeah.
I mean, I guess it would be through increased uh, uh, market volume.
Yeah, that's that's
Um,
like
I don't
if
know.
so, yeah, on that sort of everything, I agree, but I think, yeah, everything, one thing can be solved by the other thing, but then I think nearly everything here can be solved with increased volume, and whether that's, I don't know if we can make partnerships with other companies who exchange a lot of ETH for other tokens, or even making partnerships with these all these NFT tokens. Are they able to operate through a sushi swap, or is it not sort of viable because of gas fees?
That I don't know. I don't know how the NFT ERC 271, I think, whatever token format
Yeah,
is. I'm not sure how that functions exactly. At least not to the same degree for the ERC 20 tokens.
mm. But yeah, sort of like that, or on cross chain. I think cross chain, has that been spoken? Oh, well, yeah. So you got the was it the serum proposal?
Is there a serum proposal? I might have missed that.
Oh, just, no, no. I'm just talking about the Discord channel. I think that's it's been talked about a lot, but yeah, I haven't seen if there's been any updates. But I think, yeah, I don't know. And again, it's probably because I don't understand it correctly full entirely. But yeah, I think playing around with the sushinomics of the coins are only sort of band aids for now, and it's sort of enticing and it's good. But I think the best value for an ex sushi staker is being able to earn an income from the DEX, and I think just, yeah, increasing the volume in the DEX increases fees, increases return for ex sushi. And that's just the way I sort of keep coming
So
back to it. So
how
I've
would
been
you go about increasing volume on the decks?
so yeah. So I would think just have well, I don't know exactly. I think just even starting that
Oh,
focusing the
actually, I think this next proposal that we've got coming up is something that could solve this exact issue. It's the
it,
rotating sushi bar. Have you read about that?
let's just have a look.
This is something that's sort of been talked about for a few days now on the Discord, but it was just posted as a proposal um, a day ago by Boring. The idea is basically to have like 10 pairs that change weekly based on some community guidelines or decision making process um, to basically incentivize sort of new and lower market cap coins. I suppose like with rent. I mean rent BTC. That's not a low market cap coin, but these are just other DeFi tokens and pairs that have not been added to SushiSwap that they can sort of
Yeah,
capitalize off of.
something like that. And even along that idea, getting the smaller tokens, even having a grant and like sort of a like a package, a setup package or a grant or something to incentivize new tokens to sort of list on Uni, and then sort of maybe integrate the Uni front, the sushi front end into their site um, to allow the transaction of their token on their site or something like that. But then I was thinking, one idea I did have for increased exchange, I got thinking when wouldn't know how to bring up on hand the top receivers for the Uni tokens airdrop. I've seen that floating around a
I've
list.
not seen that.
There's a list for the top receivers for the Uni token airdrop, and I noticed up the top there was a porn site up the top, token holders. And then I'm thinking, do these guys use Uniswap to exchange some sort of token for payment processing or something like that? And then I was thinking, oh, if that's the case, is there businesses out there that used to use the Uni front end to exchange tokens for whatever transactions they're doing, and then if there was there some sort of way that we could incentivize them to use the sushi protocol or the SushiSwap to make them exchanges, and then create them deals on the back end to integrate the SushiSwap protocol into sort of other exchanges on their back end.
Yeah, I mean that would be a great initiative, sort of like a public a public uh, what's the word? Sort of like a fund that a grant fund, a public grant fund for integrations with other sort of commercial websites and groups.
Maybe
That'd be a great thing to get going.
yeah, and then that would sort of incentivize. Well, then that would sort of that solves the well my view the number one problem, which is volume on the exchange. If we could create incentivize it, yeah, grants to incentivize other companies or groups or communities to use the sushi platform for their token, whatever it is, whether it's set up or ongoing fees, or they could receive discounted fees, or so. I don't know how it would look, but I reckon that would be a good way that would bring on volume. Yeah, could bring on volume pretty quickly, and then yeah, once we get the volume, then the LPs are happy, they're getting more tokens, and the more fees going into more ex sushi staking, it incentivizes that even more. And I think that yeah, it'd just be that would solve all our other problems if we just focus on that, I reckon.
All right. Well, I did want to say I want to shout out real quick the Sushi Digest. Have you been reading that at all or read that?
No, I seen yeah, I seen that the other day. I didn't click on it and read it.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really good every single
yeah,
weekday. It's sort of like a price update and sort of any sort of things going on Twitter or stuff. It's very useful.
is that on Twitter? Or is that in the Discord?
No, it's on. He has his own like I guess it's called Substack, which is like a sort of like a medium like website. If you search Substack Sushi Digest, just on Google, you should be able to find it. Um, yeah, I see like a Reddit thread with a link to it.
Yeah, yeah, got that.
I will. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But I mean that wraps up everything we have written down. Do you have any last words? Closing thoughts?
Oh, it was yeah, the inaugural um yeah, closing thoughts. I think yeah, it was good. I think one thing was maybe action items and getting yeah, I think getting the ball roll and organise. I think the sushi spot. I think it just needs a bit of organising. I think you can see, like you were saying, there's a lot of infight or a little bit of infighting on the forum, and I've seen a little bit of Moon Boys fighting in the Discord and
Yes, the Moon Boys.
about this and that. No one knows where this is. No one knows where that is. I think, yeah, I think organisation is vital for sushi, and then on top of that, it's community led. So anyone who's sort of complaining, that's get out there and do something. Start organising something or start putting stuff together.
Yeah, grab a hammer, start building.
Yeah, I think this has got a lot of legs. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no, that's about it. I'm keen to start doing this sort of every week and see where it goes.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I just want to thank you as well for reaching out and showing up. Nobody
Vice
else did.
versa.
so, so yeah,
I
I
was waiting
appreciate
for
it.
it. Oh, good. And yeah, start something new.
All right, I think that wraps it up for us. I will talk to you. Well, I'll talk to you probably later tonight, but I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
see anybody who's listening right now next week, I guess. All right, see ya.